Hey guys, welcome to another training session. Yeah, today is chest day for me, as yesterday. Obviously we don't have the weights right now, we don't have the fully equipped gyms. But if you have a home gym and you have decent equipment, you can sort of still train for powerlifting and for boxing, for punching power. And of course, these are my primary goals. So getting better at powerlifting, getting better at boxing, and therefore I do grip training, therefore I do everything else that's necessary. And today I want to show you how you can really train chest for power basically at home. Now the first exercise I always do when I do it in a workout session for chest is always the dips. And the reason being is it's very taxing on your joints, on your arms, on your muscles, so on everything. And it's almost a shame if you want to, let's say, close the session with a chest workout, but you can't do dips anymore. And dips are so important for the edges of your chest. So you do not really get good lower chest and outer chest development without the dips. The dips is a body weight exercise, which you can of course do with additional weight, but I would say that's absolutely not necessary. But it's because it's really forming your chest. It's not so much that it's there for power, but overall strength and a good chest muscle to begin with. And then later on we will do a calisthenics exercise, which I've shown you once before, but we're gonna do it in a different way this time. And although I do push-ups normally always in one position, and what I mean by that you will show later on. I think for this type of push-ups, it's better, especially if you want to train your fast twitch muscle fibers and you want to really train for power, not so much for strength in general, that you do this type of exercise I'm going to show you in a while. And then later on we finish off by medicine throws lying on your back. And I will tell you something to that exercise too. So let's just see how many sets and how many reps I can do on those dip bars here I have at home. Now the problem with dip bars at home is usually if you don't have a separate dip bar set, that they are very thin. Now thin is better for your grip, but it's also more taxing for your joints, and that makes it harder to really do the same amount of repetitions than you would, for example, do on a regular dip bar in your park or somewhere else where you do it normally. So nevertheless, again, I'm gonna do it with my knees bent so that I lean a bit more forward and that the exercise goes more on my chest and less on my triceps. So here we go. So you see, I've already done dips yesterday and a whole chest workout, so it's very taxing for me, but I did 10 reps. And I think for my next set, I'm gonna do about 5 to 6, maybe up to 7, as much as I can, but I think I won't get up to 10 in the second set. Yeah, so let's have a little break. As I said, it's just there for forming your chest and getting blood in there, making the muscle bigger in total. And as I told you already one minute or so ago, those dip bars you have at home, if you don't have a separate dip bar set, are very taxing. Simply because the diameter of the bar is thinner. So you have a better grip, but there's also no pressure on your joints, on your wrist in particular. So 5, I'm gonna do one more set. Hopefully with 5-2. So therefore always do it in the very beginning, guys. It's simply not worth it to do it with not a proper form, because form is very important here, especially with this exercise, because otherwise you work other muscle parts. And of course you want to work your arms too, especially your triceps, but that doesn't mean that the focus isn't on the chest. Now if you have in comparison, a larger triceps, a bigger triceps, a stronger triceps than a chest, for example, than your chest, okay? What you do then is, if you want to still do dips, you push yourself upwards in an upright position. This is maybe something I'm going to show you right now for my last set. So I'm not going to bend the knees. That's another alternative, guys. So we did some dips now, 20 dips. I can see everything is pumped up. So now let's move over to the next chest exercise. And as I said, we want to focus this training more on power and less on general strength. So I've shown you explosive push-ups, or I think so at least. For those who don't know what explosive push-ups are, let me just move the camera slightly so that you can see me better when I'm lying there on the ground. So maybe like this. Hopefully this works out. If it does not, it should work out. Hopefully. Okay. See, that's always the problem when you're using a stand. Maybe I have to refill it with some water to make it stronger. So let's put some water in there. Because I really want to show you the technique, guys. That's important to me. So now we fill up the bottle of water with some more, and I think this should work out right now. Yeah. So yeah, you can see me now, and what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna be lying somehow here on the mats. Now normally if you do a push-up, there's one normal position, right? So shoulder width apart, and you really stretch your legs, keep them straight, go down and go up. That's it. Now there's of course another exercise you can do, a variation of a normal push-up, sorry, and that's the explosive push-up. And what you're basically doing here is you're doing everything with more force, with more speed, because you want to work the fast twitch muscle fibers which are not on the surface of your muscles. So the normal explosive push-up looks like this. You have the same position, you come down slowly, and you move up very quickly. Now, this is very taxing, but the thing is, if you really want to work those fast twitch muscle fibers, you maybe will you maybe will go up to 10 to 15 reps in total with this exercise. And I want to do some more. And normally I don't do it because I'm capable of doing each and every push-up that is around there in the normal position. But for the explosive push-ups, we're going to use the beginner's position. And the normal push-up beginner's position is basically sitting on your knees, so that you don't have to push up your whole body weight. Now for this particular exercise, I find this version better, because you can really focus on explosiveness, the weight isn't too high, and you can really focus on exploding off the floor. And that's what really creates tension and break of the muscle tissue that is underneath the tissue that's on the surface. So there are two kinds of muscle fibers. The ones are on the surface and the other ones are a little bit more deep down inside your muscle tissue. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go down and push up as fast as we can. And this works way more your fast twitch muscle fibers here in your chest than the normal version. I don't know why, but that's the case, at least for me. So try out both versions and tell me which one you like more for actually training the fast twitch muscle fibers. Here we go. So, make also sure that you work on the negative. So first, of course, you don't want to hit your nose. So therefore you have to control the movement when you're coming down. But second, it's also a negative push-up position when you come down. And we all know that negatives are usually the exercises that help you the most when you want to proceed. Now the problem, of course, is if somebody tells you do a deadlift with, let's say, 150 kg, okay? And they say, okay, do a negative version. The problem is, of course, that you always need somebody who lifts the weight up for you so that you can then do a negative. And here in this case, you don't need anybody because the weight, the load is pretty light, so to speak. And the movement is also not too dangerous. So you have really control over it and therefore can do negatives as well as positives. In other cases, you always need safety bars on a rack, on a squat rack, for example, if you want to do rack pulls, or if you simply want to train holds, you need to have those safety bars or boxes where you can put the weight on and go then down from there slowly. So you always need other assistance, but in this case you don't need anything except for yourself. So again, we go into the position and let us fall down. These are no 30. I'm going to do some 20 more, I think. So a very good exercise for actual power development. And we all know that in powerlifting, for example, you do not only need strength, but what is in fact more important is power, is explosiveness. And if you want to compare this exercise to something with actually weight, then this comes close to, let's say, a normal bench press, for example. A normal bench press with less weight, more repetitions, and of course way more speed. So this is like doing speedy reps on the bench, simply for creating this power, simply for recruiting your fast twitch muscle fibers. And it's also there for your mind-muscle connection, because powerlifters need a different mind-muscle connection than bodybuilders. Powerlifters usually have to cope with the fact that the weight they try to lift is not only way above their own body weight, but it's really at the very limit of what a human body can do. And because of that, you have to have this other mind-muscle connection, which is, okay, the weight is way too heavy for me in a normal way, on a normal day, but I'm a power lifter, I'm a different being, and my training is different. So that's the way you have to look at this exercise. So. So, now 50 of these, whew, which is great. So, we said that's only 50 push-ups, and this of course would be nothing if we were all rested. Do it in the normal version, so no explosiveness behind that. And yeah, if we then do it, then 50 isn't so much. I think with normal push-ups, you should at least come to 100 in a working session. So slow and concentrated push-ups, but not too slow, because then you do another variation. So with normal speed, I think, in a normal position with your legs stretched, you should come to about 100 in a workout session. And that's really good. And if it's more, it's even better. But as I said, that's now just a replacement for a bench that I have here. But if you haven't got any spotters, it's simply too dangerous. So therefore I don't like it so much. I don't like doing bench presses. So floor presses are something I like more, even if you are alone, because you're on the floor, and if something happens, you just throw it aside or roll it down your body. And when you do something like bench presses alone, you would normally never use the same amounts of weight that you use when there is actually somebody who might rescue you. So that's also something we have to keep in mind all the time. Now for the last exercise concerning chest. Now that's a 5 kg medicine ball. I bought it from a boxing and kickboxing store. And there are so many different things you can do with the medicine ball. I love it so much. But as I said, again, we want to focus. We want to focus on chest. So what we do here is we lay on our back, the knees pulled towards the body, and then we simply throw it straight up there. So keep in mind that you really want to focus on punching power. So this is like throwing a straight left or a straight right. In a boxing match, it's simulating this movement, and it's also about coordination. So the straighter you throw it upwards there against the ceiling, so in direction of the ceiling, not really actually against it, the better. But you won't make it every time, because when you differ in power levels, also the ball flies in a different way. Sometimes it rotates, like here, sometimes it doesn't. But don't be disappointed, as long as you really do this pressing movement, which is more of a actual pushing or punching movement, because you're doing it again explosively, the better. So also good exercises for increasing your punching power, for example. Now I want to say something at the end in regards to punching power, so that nobody gets fooled when he tries this workout at home. And he does it for, say, for example, let's say for 2 or 3 years. So if you need a rest and you see that you're barely able to throw it up again, take your time, rest again, get those fibers a break, and yeah, then go on with your next set. So again, 3 exercises, guys, and you see how taxing they are. Now I'm a bit disappointed actually with my dips. They were better. They were never really world class or really good, but they were better. So I have to work on the dips again. But I think those explosive push-ups on your knees and this exercise is actually really good for building strength and some size. Mostly strength, as I said, but also some size on your chest. So again, we go for the next set. I think I'm going to do 2 more sets, and then I have a candy for you at the end. So this is similar to throwing a basketball, except for the fact that this one here is of course way heavier and that you're lying on your back. But it's sort of the same body angle as you were standing in a basketball match, and you then simply pass the ball with speed. So again, I told you this several times, you do not always have to make 20 exercises in a workout to make the workout be a good one. If you really concentrate on 3 exercises and you do them with full intention and full motivation, and you don't hold anything back, that is absolutely perfect for you. Because that's also another thing you have to keep in mind. The more you work your whole body, the more muscle tissue, the more different muscle groups you're obviously working. And if you cannot keep up with your nutrition, because you're not a big eater, or you are a normal eater, or you have even weight losing gains, then you might actually lose way more weight than doing simple isolating work. But if you don't want to lose strength and you do not keep up, or you're not willing to keep up, or you cannot keep up, whatever, with your nutrition, then you have a problem. So always think about your goals. That's why I'm saying I'm not doing so much cardio right at the moment. But when I go back fully to boxing, cardio will be 90 to 95% of my training. Be it on the heavy bag, on the speed bag, running for 100 meters, doing jogging, doing shorter sprints, whatever. So cardio will then be the majority of my training, but not right now. I still want to gain some strength, not really size anymore, but at least some strength. So if I lose a bit of size, it's not so disappointing for me, because I'm not eating an extra amount of food. I just really try to keep my proteins always available and in the right amount in my body, so that I don't have any muscle wasting going on for that fact. But as I said, I'm also interested in losing weight, and there's always a trade-off you have to make. So you cannot really achieve both things fully. And so I then said to myself, okay, let's focus on keeping this weight for a while and simply getting stronger, even if it takes more time. So, 3 sets of everything basically. Now I want to come to something I told you about punching. Now, obviously, these are 3 exercises now I've shown you to increase your punching power. Another version would be, for example, doing punches with resistance bands, or doing punches on a cable tower, or for example, chopping wood, because it really works your whole upper body, and it's a movement where you start very slow and end very quickly. So it's again about explosiveness, and that's everything you need in punching. Now, in addition to that, you should obviously do shoulder work, because in boxing, it's the shoulder snap that's really creating the punching power. So, I've shown it in another video, and I will show it here once again, so that you guys can see me. Alright, I have to go a little bit further back. So, I think about here it is okay. So, punching is of course about rotation. You want to get your body weight in there, okay? So, you want to punch with everything your body basically has. Now, I told you that in boxing, first of course, they punch way faster than anybody else. So therefore we have the saying in boxing, speed is power. Now what Deontay said, for example, Deontay Wilder said, okay, speed is power. But what is when you have, so to speak, natural power on top of speed? So obviously then your punch becomes even more powerful, right? And he's right. But you have to think about 2 things. First, it's about the rotation. And maybe you can see my back foot. My back foot is twisting. See? And by twisting my back foot, I make sure I go all in with my body weight, so that nothing hinders me or stops me. The rotation of your back foot is very important, so that you can go in there with your cross, be it your right cross, or if you are a lefty, your left cross, okay? So it's all the same. Either this one, or for example, as a lefty, this one. And what I told you, I've shown you the overhand version, which is even harder. If you throw an overhand, you move in there, twist your back foot, and come back around with your back foot. So you pull it after you to not lose your balance. Now, that having said, this doesn't make you Deontay Wilder. You can do this for, let's say, 20 years, and you will never ever reach his power. Because punchers, guys, natural punchers with extreme punching power are born. And no matter what you do in training, you will never reach this level if you are not a natural puncher. And there are only very few guys in boxing history who have knockout power, one punch knockout power like Deontay has. Only very few guys who have this. So, as Teddy Atlas said, you are born as a puncher, you're not made. But that doesn't mean that you cannot use your full potential, right? So you won't be able, if you're not a natural puncher, to reach this level of Deontay, for example. No way. I mean, even if you train a century with these exercises, you will never make it. But that doesn't mean that you cannot sort of, well, get the most out of your potential. And these exercises are there to get the most of your potential. Okay, so obviously Deontay's potential is here in terms of punching power, and yours is maybe here or here. No, depending on your weight class, experience, and natural abilities. And as a candy, I have this COC number 0.5. I hope you can see it here this time. It's the 0.5 again, choked. And I'm just gonna use my left hand and just wanna try and see how many reps I can do. Okay, so here we go. So 12 repetitions in one set. That's great, guys. That's great. That was the candy. So I also make sure that I always work my forearms and that I try to get some balance. Because if you only focus on your strongest parts all the time, you won't be a fully and great developed athlete. You need everything in your body to give you what you basically need. So I know, again, a very long video. I hope you found it interesting. Again, if you can watch it in 1 second, in 1 second obviously not, in one session, then feel free to split the video and say, I'm gonna watch it when I'm gonna watch it. But please give me a thumbs up, and I hope you found it interesting, as I said, and see you the next time.